Good afternoon and welcome to Hallam News. I'm Rebecca Bacon.
And I'm Sophie Pinner. Our top stories today. A peaceful protest against violence towards women has taken place in Sheffield.
Cricketer Joe Root comes back to his hometown to launch his book, Bringing Home the Ashes.
And finally, on the opening weekend of the latest Star Wars film, we speak to the manager at the Showroom Cinema.
First tonight, a demonstration has taken place in Sheffield to protest against violence towards women.
It was organised by Sheffield Students' Union and was called Reclaim the Night. I went along to find out more. Tonight the streets of Sheffield were filled with men and women taking a stand against victim blaming and violence towards women. Reclaim the Night is a protest which started in the 1970s by women in Leeds who wanted to take action against the Yorkshire Ripper and reject police's advice to stay inside at night. 30 years later, women still feel threatened by the streets.
Happened in the first place, really. Like, it's quite sad that we have to do stuff like this to say that we don't feel safe in the city. More should be done without it.
Massive shock to everybody around Sheffield because we have felt in the past that this is a very, very safe city and we want to keep it feeling like a safe city.
This year alone, the city's rape statistics have tripled in comparison to 2014, and shockingly, 2 of the 12 reported rapes happened in the space of 2 days in the city centre. The protest was organised by the University of Sheffield's Women's Committee and the march concluded at the Union. However, it wasn't just students who attended the protest.
I thought it was really good, and I've been to previous marches, so I know that it was a lot of people had turned up more than usual. And
Back at the Union, a rally took place where speeches were held by fellow activists. We spoke to the president of the Students' Union.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gender inclusive. I think it's important that the march itself is a space for women and gender oppressed groups to reclaim, to be able to say this is our space. That's the whole point of the event, really. But also that by having this event, people can come along as allies and show their support nonetheless.
Hopefully next year we will see that Sheffield has reclaimed its name as one of the safest student cities in the UK. Sophie Pinner, Hallam News.
A collision in Sheffield city centre has caused the death of one teenager and left another seriously injured. 15-year-old Summer Lee Seymour died at the scene and a 17-year-old boy is currently fighting for his life in hospital. South Yorkshire Police are offering special support to both the victims' families.
Firefighters in South Yorkshire have threatened to strike after plans were put forward to cut a quarter of the control rooms. The Fire Brigade Union Secretary for South Yorkshire has said that the cuts followed a callous disregard for public and firefighter safety. However, figures have showed that the service has handled 20,000 less calls a year since 2004.
Police are investigating an alleged rape of a woman in her 20s that happened on one of Sheffield's busiest party streets. The incident took place on Division Street in the early hours of Saturday morning. Police have appealed for any witnesses that were in the area around the time of the incident.
The Northern Refugee Centre in Sheffield has closed after 34 years' service.
It has been trying to find thousands of pounds in funding since the summer. Its closure comes as more refugees arrive in the city, Deanna Colt reports.
The Northern Refugee Centre on Bridge Street, a charity which has helped refugees in Yorkshire for 34 years, is now closed due to lack of funding. It has been trying to fill a £150,000 funding gap since the summer. However, several Syrian families are due to arrive in Sheffield this week on the government resettlement programme.
It's not great timing, and it will have some impact. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But in terms of Sheffield, the main service provider in future will be the Sheffield Citizens Advice.
It relied on money from councils, a private trust fund, lottery funding and other grants. This covered the funding of the services, however it did not meet the core costs of running the centre.
Most of the services that we're being currently provided will be picked up by other agencies across the region, not all at the moment, but most of them. And what will be lost will be the regional overview that we actually give, and it's important that's picked up elsewhere.
But for now, the toys and facilities that once helped so many are left abandoned. Deanna Colt, Hallam News.
And now we have Scott with the sports news. What's been happening this week, Scott?
Thanks, Rebecca. Yes, it's been a very busy week for sports. World number 1 ICC cricket batsman Joe Root has returned to his home in Sheffield for his long-awaited book signing. I went along to meet the cricketing star.
The calm before the storm for the book signing of the century. Local lad and world #1 ICC batsman Joe Root has tonight been in Waterstone, Sheffield, promoting his new book, bringing home the Ashes. It has certainly been a summer to remember for Joe after winning the Ashes and claiming player of the tournament.
And being able to say at the end of the summer, yeah, we've had a fantastic year, and sit down with the guys in the dressing room, have a beer and enjoy that together. That was really pleasing. Obviously, to have contributed to that with personal performances as well, again, just sort of puts the icing on the cake. But yeah, that was a fantastic summer and something I'll always look back on with fond memories.
It's been a big turnout as cricket fans flock the bookstore to get a glimpse and have a chat with their Ashes hero.
Really the best talent we've had for years, in my opinion.
How many Yorkshire players are in the England setup at the moment, and it's just going to be better sort of publicity for Yorkshire.
Yeah, I think he's done great for Yorkshire, but particularly England.
Cheers, mate. Lovely to meet you. Thank you very much.
For the ICC World #1, it's nice to come away from his busy schedule to visit his hometown.
I love coming back home here, seeing my family, seeing my friends, that I grew up spending time with, and just to have that, I wouldn't say sense of normality, but just back home where I feel I've grown up and I almost belong.
The book plays out tales and stories from England's recent Ashes victory, and let's just say they earned it. I've been Scott Finlay, Hallam News.
Hallamshire Tennis and Squash Club are celebrating winning the title of Yorkshire Club of the Year for the second year in a row. Over the last 5 years, the club has been praised for the facilities it offers and the way it is run. There has also been a rise in membership. It is said that the success of the club is down to their partnership with the premier coaching provider, the Academy, and is looking forward to making 2006 their third successive year. The club is known for training one of the world's most successful squash players and the current world #2, Nick Matthews. With Wolves taking the trip up north to face Sheffield Wednesday on Sunday, we spoke with the Owls manager who mentioned the team's spirits and positivity is still high despite their recent run of bad form.
But we try all the time since the first minute. We never go to a game and we never said to the players, we are positive, we are here to try to do goals. I think if you analyze, I remember the game against Bolton, against Derby. I don't know if there are another game that we didn't score. We scored goals in all the games, even in the pre-season. We scored goals in all the games that we play. We didn't do also against Stoke City, but we did against Arsenal. We did against Newcastle, and all the games we are scoring goals. So, or most of the games. So it means that we have on the mind all the time to try to win the games and try to do goals.
And that's all for sports this week, but I've heard the force is strong in Sheffield.
Thanks, Scott, but that is an awful joke. Did you get that one out of a cracker?
Maybe.
Finally, the most anticipated movie of the year has finally been released. Star Wars The Force Awakens hit cinema screens all over the world today.
Our reporter Matt Smith joins us live from Sheffield as he's been gauging the reaction from the local area.
That's right, I'm here at the showroom in Sheffield where they're showing the new Star Wars film, The Force Awakens. Cinemas all across the nation are showing it, and it's been welcomed as a return to form by critics and fans alike. It's the first film since Lucasfilm was bought out by Disney back in 2012 for around $4.5 billion. I spoke with the manager of the showroom earlier. This is what he had to say about it.
Well, I guess we've sold a lot of advance tickets. There's been a massive amount of anticipation. It's brought a lot of new people to the cinema who wouldn't normally come because we're an independent cinema and it's obviously a big mainstream release. So we're getting a lot of new audience members, which is great.
The dark side.
He's still in the Maid of War.
Jedi.
AAA budget films such as Star Wars aren't often shown in independent cinemas, especially this close to release. Spectre, a similarly high budget film, also released around the same time, wasn't shown here. I asked why Star Wars had the honour and not Spectre.
Star Wars is kind of more in line with our audience, I think, yeah. and also it's it is the biggest film for a generation. So we couldn't we're a cinema, and we couldn't not show it. And I think Star Wars, it kind of transcends everything really. I think everyone deep down loves Star Wars. So, but yeah, last night was really busy, and we've got lots of bookings over the weekend and the forthcoming weeks. We're showing it all throughout Christmas and New Year. Yeah.
So it seems like Star Wars The Force Awakens will be this year's Christmas #1 hit. From me, may the Force be with you, back to you in the studio.
That's all from Hallam News this week. We hope you all have a very Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
May the Force be with you.